Yo, what up? It's your boy, Mr. E, and today we're going to be learning about creating and reading points on a coordinate plane. Now, this is one of my favorite things to teach in 5th grade because it's one of my favorite things in mathematics. So I'm really excited about the video. Also, you may notice that I'm up here at the school. Right now, you guys are taking the reading star simulation, so your boy had some time to kill, so I'm creating this video now.
Okay, I'm bored in the house and I'm in the house bored.
So before we dive into the video, we do need to go over a few vocabulary words. The word we're going to be going over is ordered pair. And what an ordered pair is it's two numbers written in a certain order, usually written in parentheses like this, 12, 5. And when we say it out loud, that's how we'll say it, 12, 5, which can be used to show the position on a graph where x, or the horizontal value, is first, and the y, or vertical value, is second. So 12, 5 is 12 units along and 5 units up. So we're very familiar with how to create a table from an equation, find the rule, see if it's additive or multiplicative. But now we're going to add one more step when we create tables, and that is to create the column that has the ordered pairs. So the first two columns we're pretty familiar with. This seems pretty easy, but the last column might be a little different. So basically what we're doing is we're taking the value from the x part of the table and the value from the y part of the table, combining them together to create an ordered pair. So in our first row we have 1 for the x value, 3 for the y value, so we'd call that 1, 3. And we remember that x always comes before y because x comes before y in the alphabet. So the same would hold true for 2, 4 and 3, 5. So anytime we create a table now, create that third column for the ordered pairs so that you can get some good practice with creating ordered pairs. So now that we know what an ordered pair is, let's dive into the video. So we're going to first talk about how we can create points on the coordinate plane. So we have a coordinate plane and we have an ordered pair, but we need to plot the point. Plotting, by the way, is just another word for creating. So step one, we're going to start at the origin. If you remember, an origin, just like it is in the comic books, is where we start. Spider-Man's origin is that he got bit by a spider. So that's how he started. So we're going to start at the origin when we create our point. Step 2, we're going to move horizontally on the x-axis and stop at the first number in your ordered pair. So I think of it like this. If I wanted to get to a really high floor at a building, I couldn't just jump up to that floor and get into it. I'd have to go into the building and go up with the elevator. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to move over horizontally left and right until we stop at the number 7. Once we get to that number 7, we are going to move vertically on the y-axis and stop at the second number in your ordered pair. So we've walked inside the building. Now we're going to go up the elevator to the 5th floor, and we're going to stop there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to draw our point and label it. You know Mr. D loves labeling everything. So we have our point here, and that is 7, 5. One thing that we do need to really make sure we don't do is flip the numbers. If we flip-flop the numbers, we're going to be at a very different place on the coordinate plane. Let's see what would happen if we flip-flop these numbers. We've got 5 and 7 over here. That's in a completely different place, so that is totally
Wrong.
National. So please don't flip the numbers around. Remember, x always comes before y. X is first in the alphabet, so x comes first in our ordered pairs. So now that we know how to create points on a coordinate plane, let's learn about how we could read points on a coordinate plane. So we have our coordinate plane and we have a point, but we don't know exactly what the ordered pair is yet. So step 1, we're going to start at the unknown point. So since we're reading it, we don't really need to look at the origin right now. So we're going to start at the unknown point. Step 2, we're going to draw a vertical line that will intersect with the x-axis and write that number down first. So I always tell my students to put their finger on or their pencil on the point and draw that vertical line. So we're going to go down to the x-axis until we cross it or intersect with it, and we see that our number is 2. So we're going to write down 2 first for our ordered pair. Next step is to draw a horizontal line that will intersect with the y-axis and write that number second. So again, with our pencil or our finger, we're going to draw a line until we hit the y-axis and we notice that the number is 6. So we'd write the number 6. And just a reminder, please be careful not to flip the numbers. If we did 6, 2, that would not be the correct ordered pair, and we would not get that answer correct. So it's really important. Remember, x comes first in the alphabet, so it goes x, y. So we know a little bit about creating and reading points on the coordinate plane. Let's do a couple practice problems together. All right, so we've got a table on the left, And we've got a couple ordered pairs already created for us, and we're going to create those points on the coordinate plane. So the first one is 0, 5. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to the origin. I'm going to move horizontally, or like I'm walking into the building. But since it's 0, I don't really have to move too far, so it's like I'm already in the building. Then I'm going to go up the elevator, and I'm going to stop at 5. So I'm going to put my point right here on the y-axis, and then I'm going to label it 0, 5. So that one we didn't have to go in at all because our value was at 0. The next one we have is 3, 8. We're going to start at the origin like we always do, move horizontally over to 3, then go up the elevator until we hit 8, draw our point there, and then label it. So we have 3, 8. Our last one is 5, 10. And I'm going to explain this with the way that Miss Plyler likes to say it. So pretend like we're in an airplane over here. An airplane has to go horizontal first, all the way over to 5, before it can take off. Because an airplane wouldn't just immediately go vertical, it would have to go down the runway first before it can start taking off in the air. So there's our point, and we've got 5, 10. So whichever way helps you remember it better, go for it. It can be either walking into a building and going up an elevator, or like you're in an airplane, going on the runway and then lifting off. So we've practiced a little bit with creating points on the coordinate plane. Now let's practice with reading points on the coordinate plane. All right, I decided to switch it up a little bit because circles and points can be a little boring. So we've got some shapes. I think you can see one of them are a little bit more fun than the others. So let's start with the star over here, okay? So something I notice is that the star is actually on the x-axis. So it's going to be very easy to read this point. So our first step is to start at the unknown point. Okay, so we're starting at the star. We're drawing a line down until we stop at the x-axis. We're already at the x-axis. The number is being covered by the star, but we can see it's halfway between 8 and 10. So it looks like our first number is going to be 9. Then what we're going to do is we're going to draw a line horizontally until we cross the y-axis. So it looks like it's going to be at 0. So 9, 0 is going to be the first point that we read on the coordinate plane. Now, something to remember is if your point's actually on the x-axis, it will always have no value on the y-coordinate. Same thing will hold true if your point is on the y-axis. There will be no value or 0 in the x value. So something good to remember. Let's move on to this next symbol, which is a cloud. So we've got a cloud here. We're starting at that unknown point. We're drawing a line down until we intersect or cross with the x-axis. So it looks like we're at 5. So our first number is going to be 5. Then we're drawing a horizontal line until we cross the y-axis. So it looks like our second number is going to be 8. So our number is 5, 8. All right, this last point I'm sure you guys have all been looking at and you're really excited about. We've got Danny Dorito. Not Danny DeVito. He's turned into a Dorito. My Switch class was actually super obsessed with Doritos when we did quick draw, so just had to throw that in there. So start at the unknown point. Look at me, so happy to be a Dorito. We're going to draw a line vertically down until we cross the x-axis. So it looks like we're at 3 here. And then we're going to draw a line horizontally until we cross the y-axis, and that's going to give us 4. So Danny Dorito is at 3, 4. So that's how we're going to read points on the coordinate plane, and it looks like we did a good job with that. I will say, when we're first learning this is going to be a little tricky, and we may not understand it, but that is totally fine. There's no worries about that. We're going to get a lot of practice in, and in no time, this is not only going to be easy, but it's going to be a lot of fun too. So, I hope this video was helpful. I hope you get some more practice with creating and reading points on a coordinate plane so you can get a hundo on your next test. Keep learning, Elsbras.